You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, today is Sunday the 13th of October 2024. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Sorry I've been absent the last couple of days. I just literally couldn't think of anything I particularly wanted or needed to say. And although having said that, today I made myself do something. So I've just been sort of sitting around the house, not really doing very much the last few days since I got back from my holiday. So I kind of made the decision today. There's a National Trust house sort of within 10 miles. I think it's slightly further to drive, but in a straight line, it's less than 10 miles from my house, called Cannons Ashby. And I did go a long time ago, but I thought it might be quite nice to go again. And so I did. I got up about sort of 9 o'clock. I was there by just gone 10. And had a nice little wander around the grounds. It was rather pleasant. I am a National Trust member, so the other thing is I'm trying to make sure I get my money's worth, because so far the places I've visited, National Trust places, I've actually haven't covered the cost of my membership, although I'm very close actually. A couple more and I'll be in profit. So I did that, and then there's a couple of things I needed to buy, so I decided to go home via a supermarket in Banbury. In fact, I stopped at two in the end, because one had the food I wanted but isn't very good for non-food, and there's another one, maybe one I used to work for, that has more non-food, so I kind of stopped in and bought two specific non-food things that I wanted. Got back to the house, unpacked, and then decided to go and walk into town, and basically I'm suddenly obsessed with the idea of getting, the way my brain works is ridiculous, of getting a milk jug. So I've got this quite nice sort of glass teapot. It doesn't have a spout, unfortunately, which means the really nice tea cosy that I have for it doesn't work. So I actually need a new teapot, or possibly, I don't know. Anyway, so one of the things that the one I've got is like a diffuser. It's a bit like one of those coffee plunger things, but with tea. But I don't have a milk jug, so I can sit there and pour myself over a litre of tea, which I can slowly drink over an hour or so, or two, because I don't mind drinking it when it's not piping hot. But I keep having to nip back to the kitchen for more milk, so I thought, well, there's bound to be a nice little milk jug in the charity shop, and there's loads of charity shops in Daventry, and none of them open on a bloody Sunday, it turns out. So that was a bit disappointing. Instead I had lunch. There's a little kind of, there's several little places you can eat, but there's one where I had some lunch. I ate sensibly. I didn't eat too much. I did have a dessert, but I'd walked there, so I'd kind of already burnt the calories off I had for the dessert, so that was good. And then I had my iPad with me just in case, and I actually did a little bit more work on chapter 37. Yeah, only about 600 or 700 words. I basically did a little bit more of the scene I did. Heck knows how long ago it was that I actually wrote it, but so it's kind of, I actually did some writing, and my plan for tomorrow is, again, I've got all this National Trust and what's the other one? English Heritage membership that I'm not using as often as I should, but I'm not that far. It's only sort of half an hour's drive from Kenilworth Castle. So tomorrow I'm going to go to Kenilworth Castle, then I'm going to find a nice little writing spot in Kenilworth and try and do a little bit more. I still haven't done my scene breakdown for this chapter, but then I've kind of decided, because I was going to have one chapter, then the chapter of death, then the final chapter, then the epilogue. I think the chapter of death is going to have to be the final chapter before the epilogue anyway. And I've made a couple of decisions about characters that we are going to see, and they're not all going to die nicely. They're not all going to kind of just, I'm struggling to breathe, I'm just going to lie in bed with you and die, in a nice way, as because that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course it would. No, so for example, there's a character that we saw midway through the story. She's a Yakunda, which is somebody who could potentially be a designated survivor, although she's not going to survive because she's a police officer as well, and there's going to be one of the supermarkets in Inverness is going to get robbed at gunpoint, and bless her, she's going to get in the way of those bullets. So she's not going to have to sit there worrying about knowing she's going to suffocate to death soon. So, it's a nice ending in a way. But anyway, God, that's cheerful. But no, so I've kind of decided in my head what needs to happen in the lot. So chapter 37 is going to be so there's a secondary site where basically everything is stored, everything that they're going to need to restart society, as it were, with the designated survivors, and it's only about 20 miles away from where Carl Tucker's mob built the Arboretum. So I think what's going to happen is they're finally going to get the tree to say, all right, I've made up my mind, I think some of you should survive, and then it's going to be, they're going to go, okay, right, the tree's going to allow people to survive, but you've got to get me, somehow we've got to get that, the fact that I think this is what we should do, we need to get that information to another tree that's like connected to the collective. And I'm going to let you, I don't really like this because it's quite scary being in one of these flesh bodies, but I'm going to let you walk to another tree so I can interface with another tree that is part of the collective. They're going, oh, thank God you've made that decision. That's brilliant. Right, let's go. And it's like, no, we're surrounded by the army and they've got guns on us. And that's going to be the cliffhanger to chapter 37. And chapter 38 is going to be how they resolve that. And I think the only way they're going to be able to do it is just by crowding a load of people around this volunteer, around Claire, containing the body of the creature that inhabits the tree, and literally taking her outside surrounded by people, and some of those people are going to get picked off and shot and killed just getting her there. And I think that's how Oakley's going to die. I think that's because I wasn't sure. I know I wanted him to die, but I wasn't sure how. And I think that's going to be how. I think some other people, Dr. Matthews, will be killed during that. And there might be a couple of surprises as well. Yeah. But anyway, we'll see. So that's kind of what's got to happen in that final chapter. And then the description of basically the country breaking down into chaos. And I think the chapter of death will also have some nice things in it. So there will be people that are designated survivors getting rescued by the trees. Literally, they will send Skult to retain those people. But anyway, yeah. But I'm a bit more in the creative mood than I have been for a good 2 or 3 weeks now. So that's good. Sorry for waffling. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my Linktree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.